And currently, my stance is the following: Saint is out of line. Mr. Poke is out of line. Everybody that set out to just ruin the Saintontas back and like show him the mirror and all that, you guys are out of line. Everybody's out of line. So there's a lot of talk about my stance when it comes to Saint. I do not blame you guys for not understanding where I'm coming from, in the sense of I did not make it easy for you guys. I do. And I apologize for that. My bad. I definitely should have been clearer, and I definitely should have mentioned my particular stances at the start of videos, because obviously sometimes I do mention Saint bad this, Saint bad that, but they typically are in the middle of the video. And considering the nature of YouTube and how you guys, basically a lot of you guys, not all of you, I appreciate everybody that watches the video to the very end. Shouts out to you guys. But obviously for some, you're not sitting through all that. Like sometimes you get a call, you get something happen, and you just dip out. All right, like it's very normal. So you miss me saying. Obviously, like I said earlier, I didn't make it easy for you guys to understand fully and keep updating you guys as things go about my stance to this entire ordeal. Because here's the thing: I may have started unbiased, but I'm definitely biased now, considering the developments this have taken. Like things. Like if you think the drama is still in the same level, you've obviously haven't been keeping attention. And this is where I just want to make certain stances clear, so we can continue with this with the clearest of ways, because I'm tired of being misunderstood, but I realized that I also had a hand in that. So let me just clarify some things here for you guys. So let's start with version 1.0. All right, Saintontas, of course, the man of the hour. Is Saintontas, what's happening to Saintontas right now, a consequence of him basically behaving the way he's always behaved vis-a-vis other creators and going at them in a personal level, in the sense, well, not that personal because he doesn't know much about the people, but obviously poking fun at them, trying to make them a laughing stock, something that he himself complained about back in the day. And maybe it's, now that I think about it in hindsight, maybe this is him taking out frustrations of things that happened to him as like, what happened to me, so it should happen to everybody type of mindset. And there's a lot of people that operate in that lens. They don't go, oh, this happened to me, let me make sure this never happens to anyone again. They go, it happened to me, it has to happen to you too. What, you think you're gonna be exempt from that? Oh, hell no. That's how it was done for me, it's gonna be done to you as well. A lot of people operate in that lens. A lot of Saintontas I know that happen to have very, very similar character traits, something I've talked about before, happen to have exhibited this particular trait. So I'm not surprised if it were to be the case, or maybe he's unaware of it, but he operates in that lens as well. Either way, what I'm trying to say is, the fact is, this is obviously a consequence of Saintontas operating a certain way and people perceiving him as bullies, and as a bully, sorry. And here's the thing: people do not like bullies. We just don't. All right, I can understand and tolerate bullies considering the environment I'm in, which is the internet. This is where a lot of my insensitivity and ability to be unbiased towards the entire ordeal stems from. I do not like bullies, of course. I mean, obviously they shouldn't be here, but a certain degree of bullying is not bad. Can we be honest? Like, I think bullying done right could be really effective in character development, like as you as a person. That's what happened to me personally, but again, I'm not you, and we all react differently to things. We're all different as people. So I just, food for thought. Some bully help as long as it's within a moderate dose. For some, it doesn't really help. You have to prep them for bullying that comes with human society, because we will always have a certain degree of people putting you down to further themselves ahead. It's just the way people do. It's not just online, but it's accentuated even more online. The reason why it is because there's a reward for that. Putting down others' takes and putting yourself ahead of them not only eliminates competition, but also propulses you ahead, because the people from that audience are going to look at you and go, oh, so the creator I'm in with right now is all talk and no action. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go out to that guy. He cooked you, bro. He seems to know his stuff better. So I'm going to go over there. So yeah, when creators see that, it's obviously a signal to keep doing this. There's a lot of incentive to keep doing this. So I understand it shouldn't be a thing, and yet here we are, because this is the nature of where we are at. It's like I keep saying, if you don't want to be approached by a gay guy, do not go to a gay bar. It's just the way it is. It shouldn't be. Sorry, my apologies. Not in the analogy, but like in the terms of the internet, my apologies. So we're clear. shouldn't be the thing on how people behave, and we should strive for a better form of communication. But the problem is the internet is made up of very, very different types of people. So at this point, it's like you just gotta expect it. Like wanting it to be this perfect utopia is very, very unrealistic. We can strive towards it. I'm with that, but that's never gonna happen. It's like what we do, really. It's like you strive for perfection, but you know you will never reach perfection. Sorry, I'm going on a bit of a tangent there. My apologies. So we have Saintontas, of course, basically getting the consequences of what he's built up until now. All right. Next, we had the version 1.5, which is Skull CJ. Skull CJ comes in. He ups the level of people going at Saintontas by 10, and let's just say it still falls under what people can tolerate online. Because if you don't want people to use your likeness in photos, etc., you shouldn't have uploaded or made a face reveal in the first place. There's a reason why some VTubers always stay anonymous. They never show their face. They never do that. The reason why they do that is because they don't want themselves to be put in places they don't want to. Right? They don't want their face used for something without their consent, which is to be expected considering the environment you're in, which is the internet. We keep going back to this. Should it be a thing? Of course not. And yet, here we are. Unfortunately, this is the environment we are in because people can behave a certain way because they have a layer of anonymity that protects them from real life consequences for their obvious toxic behavior and basically breaching boundaries that they don't have a right to do. So Skull CJ, in my eyes, at that point, still is fair in doing what he does, except taking into consideration the fact that we are online. To be expected, Saint shouldn't have made a face reveal if that's going to bother him as much. However, at some point, we all laughed. It was funny. But when the aggrieved party goes, okay, please stop making fun of me. Like, you guys are laughing, but I'm not laughing. I feel like a certain degree of respect would be appreciated. We go, okay, well, I'm not going to be like you. Okay, but you see, you can do this. And when someone says, please stop, here we go. But the fact is, unfortunately, Saint went about it in a threatening fashion, which he himself doesn't respond well to, which of course Skull CJ is probably not going to take kindly to it as well. Or maybe Skull CJ could have just replied to him and be like, I'm doing this not because you threatened me, not because of this or that, but because I'm a grown-ass person. I know when to call it quits. Skull CJ could have went about it like that, but then again, at that point, egos have been triggered, which leads us to 2.0, where obviously people saw there was a huge wave of the Saintontas hate and everything. That Skull CJ, let's just face it, just opened Pandora's box to. I think that's a sentiment that was always here, clearly, no debating. And it just escalated to the point where we're at now, where I just cannot hold my bias anymore. I can't, because those photoshopping, being a dick online is something that it's like, shouldn't be a thing, but I can tolerate it. People are going to be jerks. It's a thing. Even in professional settings, I want you to think about that for a second, where you can really be penalized. People can still be jerks and real assholes. And photoshopping and stuff shouldn't be a thing as well. But I mean, have you been online for 2 seconds? I mean, duh. Have you seen what people do with celebrities and the way like they do with AI and photoshopping them and all? Dude, like it's always been a thing. So shouldn't be a thing once again, but this is the nature of the environment we're in right now. If you're around a volcano, it's gonna be hot. So moving on to 2.0, which is now the doxing. We have CSAMming, we have copyright striking, and we now have death threats. Now, let's start with death threats real quick. Of course, they're very scary. Of course, they shouldn't happen, but again, falls under what you typically hear big CCs complain about in the online sphere when they are, let's just say, controversial. Most of those people are all talk and no action, but unfortunately, it only takes one crazy asshole to make it a reality and making a devastating reality. Therefore, it's very serious. It's tough to ignore because it only takes the one. That's all it takes. And just because it's a small community doesn't mean the one doesn't dwell there. The fact is, the percentages of someone receiving a real death threat and feeling like their life is threatened because of random crap online should be 0%. It should be 0%, not even 0.1. 0% is what we should strive towards. It's tough, of course, because unfortunately some people are unhinged and are obviously outside of the realm of what we consider logic, but this is the boundary we have to set. So the death threats are an ultimate no-no, and any CC, Saint included, that still participates in this is fanning the flames towards that. This is where I kind of want to highlight real quick that unfortunately, due to people wanting to hold a mirror at Saintontas, they ended up becoming Saintontas and started participating in the very same behavior that have led us to this. You've set out to solve the problem. You ended up becoming part of the problem because you have failed to realize that the problem makes you lower your approach to how to fix the problem made you lower yourself to positions you had no business lowering yourself to, and now you cannot get out of it unscathed. The reason why you cannot is because you have to protect yourself and your reputation as you get out from that. And it's going to be very hard because the guy will keep coming at you. He is obviously relentless, as you have known. This is something you've known, and yet you went at him because you thought, nah, I'd win. The thing is, people went with nah, I'd win, and also we still want people that want to catch W's, because if you don't catch W's, unfortunately, it comes at the price of your reputation, / you know that if you just stop and the other side doesn't take some form of accountability, he's just gonna keep doing it. So it put all the CCs that went after Saint between a rock and a hard place. And I feel for them, I really do. So maybe, this is just hindsight, of course, but maybe you should have had a different approach to maybe have made you somewhat avoid what's happening right now. But here we are. Moving on to the CSAMing and doxing. I want to talk about I would add the death threaters too. This is now a fourth party, because the first party is Saint, second party is the people going against Saint, the third party is us, the audience, and the fourth party is basically a bunch of deranged, weird, mentally ill individuals that are taking advantage of the current sentiment to basically go on ahead and try and get away with obviously something that is beyond what's acceptable even in internet standards. I want to say verbatim, I've said this before, but I'll say it again. These guys are the true problem to this entire ordeal. These are not just drama goblins at this point. Drama goblins are like the ones that copy paste clips, like, oh, she said this, clip it, send it to the other streamer. Ooh, I wonder what he's gonna say about this. And they keep fanning the flame for their own entertainment. They don't have the streamer or the current community they're in's best intentions. They don't care. All they want is to see the reaction they want from their streamer, because it's just what they do. They love the drama. They love the back and forth. That's what they're there for. And especially when they see they can have a hand in it. So you have those people, and now you have the level 99 mafia boss who take advantage of the sentiment, go out and say, oh, I'm from Mr. Pokey's community. This is why I did this. He went against Mr. Pokey, so I went ahead and CSAM'd him. I went ahead and attacked the entire audience. The audience, the third party, we had no business seeing that stuff. I wasn't there, I didn't see it, nor do I want to see it. I'm not interested in that. But like, if I'm just sitting there in Mr. Pokey's Discord server, what did I do? Why do I have to be attacked by that? Because you happen to have some level of fire against someone, which, let's face it, you probably don't. You just found an excuse to finally behave irrationally, illegally, doing illegal type of behavior, so you can feel better about yourself. And what you say is like, oh, this is the way to do it, is because, oh, well, you went after Mr. Pokey, so that's what makes it okay. No. You don't even care about Mr. Pokey, because if you did, you wouldn't do that in the first place, and you would not say it's for Mr. Pokey, or you would be spotted in the Discord of Mr. Pokey. You would just do that anonymously or something. But you're trying to use that as an excuse to get away with what you did, or like you want some form of applaud from certain people in that community that are also as twisted as you are. Shame on you, you fucking prick. Next is, of course, going to be the doxing. Now, doxing, of course, is a very serious matter. Unfortunately, what makes the internet is, like I said earlier, what makes it the internet is the layer of anonymity and lack of consequences in real life, which makes people behave more truthfully and more themselves, really. Like, you see the real them online. Not all the time, of course, but usually most of the time. I want to say to those people that I don't understand your why. Like, why would you do that? Besides, like, this weird malicious satisfaction. But they fall under the same place with the CSAMers and the Death Threaders. Shame on you, you fucking prick asshole. And finally, we have the copyright strike, which obviously, kind of why we are here, where obviously my bias will show. And like you could see here, my bias does show, because obviously I do not condone that extreme of behavior, even if it is something that you typically hear about online. Some things I can tolerate. It's easy to tolerate. People being pricks, people photoshopping each other. I can tolerate that shit. It still falls under banter. This is just serious. You're crossing the boundary between what's online and between IRL, and that is not okay. The strike falls under the same position, and we just went from going at each other, farming each other for views and stuff, which I don't know why Mr. Poke didn't participate in that, to be honest with you, to, well, guess what? I'm just gonna destroy your channel. That's right. I'm just gonna ruin your career. You don't know how much Saintontas depends on that career. You don't know what's going on in his financial situation. What if you were to just wreck his life with that? Have you thought about that for a second? You don't know who depends on him. You don't know what's going on. And you're just gonna go and just wreck him because, oh, I happen to not like you anymore. Am I saying that Mr. Poke isn't in some form of, in shape or form, valid for doing this? Absolutely not. Of course, I understand why Mr. Poke is doing this. The extreme in which Mr. Poke went at it is so out of line that it has to be called out. Farm him back. Do Photoshop stuff. Not, of course, the grape and the blackmail and all that crazy stuff. That's bad Photoshopping. Do Photoshop stuff. Do not go after a man's bread, for it is akin to killing him. In abusing the copyright strike system in a court of law, and if Mr. Poke wins, it sets precedent in the court of law, could create a domino effect that could change the internet as we know it. I want you to think about that for a second. A lot of people are trying to downplay the, say for example, Mr. Poke wins, but that's just you being biased at that point, because a lot of you guys try to downplay anything that happens to Saintontas because you guys happen to have an issue with him. So if you guys are going to invite me to be more critical towards myself, I have to do the same for you guys as well. So I want you guys to as well, because obviously you guys obviously don't like Saintontas, which can definitely create a certain level of bias and you ignoring certain thing that's been done towards the party that is Saintontas, the party that you dislike. So of course there's going to be bias from you guys as well. So I really am inviting you guys to do the same thing I am. I'm trying to lead by example. If I'm going to do it, I would expect you guys, well, it's only fair, right? So due to these things, and already lack of respect from my side to Mr. Poke due to his behavior towards Tectone back in the day, in not even doing the bare minimum as a friend, and then just literally turning his back, going, actually, we were never friends. What did you think? Is so out of line for me that he's already lost a lot of respect in my eyes. And then when you add into this, because what I'm saying, like when he lost respect, as in, I'm not gonna give you much leeway or something, because like you're already low in my eyes. You know what I mean? It's like I'm not even gonna try with you because you're already showing me that you could be a real lowlife. So a true douchebag. So guess what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna look at you again from that lens, because that's what you have shown me through your actions. I wouldn't trust you with my back, that's for sure, because I've seen what you can do. So guess what? When you do something that's so malicious in setting up, where you maliciously went at it, setting the man up to try and just ruin his career, ruin his bread completely. You try to go for triple Yahtzee, you failed, and this is why we're here now. And guess what? Even if you succeeded in the triple Yahtzee, all you would have had was Saintontas gone for a few, and then he'd probably come back because he will talk to YouTube and Google, and they'll have it sorted out, because that's obviously unfair. But this is what you try to do. This is how far you were willing to go. But that's an extreme I cannot stand by and I cannot tolerate. That's just not okay. That's like a whole new version that I cannot remain unbiased in, because it creates if it were to go through, of course, it creates a strong ripple effect. Like it's so there. I can easily see it becoming a strong ripple effect that I, for one, do not want to see in my world, in my internet. I don't want to see that happening. And also, I do not want someone's life to be destroyed because you happen to have an issue about him being a total asshole at you. Should he be an asshole to you? Of course not. But then again, this is what, like I said earlier, to be expected considering the environment you're in. You don't like to be approached by gay guys? Don't go to gay bars. This is what you should expect going in there. It is what it is. It is what it is. So, whilst it would be a perfect world if Saint would just stop going at Mr. Pokey, like, and this to be resolved amicably and all that, that would be perfect. I don't see that happening, unfortunately. And this is what makes us be in this very tricky, hard situation. Do I want Mr. Pokey to be destroyed and all that? Hell no. I don't care about Mr. Here's the thing. I don't care about Mr. Pokey, the person. I care about the current Mr. Pokey's behavior is what I care about. Mr. Pokey is like just this representative. I don't necessarily hate him. I have a problem with his attitude. I have a problem with the way he's going about things. I have the problem with the solution he thought was the best in going at internet toxicity. That's a bit of an extreme. I understand it. I do. I get it. It's like you have to stand your ground. Okay, you know what? I just want total obliteration. Like I want to hit him and for him to not to stand back up. That's a good strategy. I do. I understand it. Too far though. Still too far. And this is exactly what people are trying to say about Saintontas. And if we're gonna say that, we shouldn't just double down and do the exact same shit, participate in the same problem we're complaining about. And obviously, Saintontas never got to the point of going for people IRL up until now, of course. So let's talk about, of course, real quick about what's happening right now with Saintontas. Because obviously, there's now version 2.5, where even Saintontas is so out of line. Saintontas is so out of goddamn line that he's not just being a douche, a prick asshole. Like you're just something beyond now. You're playing very, very dirty. Very dirty. Ew. Shame on you for just still going at it to this point when you know now there's fourth parties that are taking advantage of the feud and are going to be actually doing exactly what you even insinuate, because now you can't get away with just insinuating because there's fourth parties at play. They have shown themselves. They are here. At this point, you're not just Broly, you're being stupid. Being Broly is cool and all. I get it. But now you're being stupid because you're being oblivious to what the fuck those guys are doing over there. And those are the real issue. And I feel like as the moment we detect that those guys are here, everybody and their mama should turn the volume down. Now, not tomorrow, not after. I want it done yesterday is where I wanted it to be done. But tough. So, this is version 2.5, and currently my stance is the following. Saint is out of fucking line. Mr. Pokey is out of fucking line. Everybody that set out to just ruin the Saintontas back and like show him the mirror and all that, you guys are out of fucking line. Everybody's out of fucking line. I hope I'm clear now. Everybody's stupid right now. Because people are so in the fire, they can't see anything but the smoke. They can't see anything else. You're in the middle of a firestorm. Even if you take your eyes up like this from the fire, all you're going to see is the smoke. You're not even going to see the sky. Nothing's around you. All you see is fire and smoke. I want you to think about this. The party is involved. Basically, every time they wake up, they open the screen and everything. All they see is toxic comments, death threats, attempts at their safety, at their privacy, attacks on their audience, a third party which has nothing to do with all of this. I want you to think about that for a second and how hard and gruesome it is for them. So like, I understand every party here. I do. I think it's time everybody takes an L. We should all just sit down. Everybody should take an L, because here's the thing. This isn't going to resolve itself until every party knows they're sticking it to the other side. I said this yesterday with Skull CJ, and I stand true by that. This is the way it's going to be. And I strongly suggest this happens privately, and the next day after the private call, people just be like, all right, we're done with that. Anyway, let's just keep it going. And we ignore the audience that still wants to fan the flames of that. The audience's result will be, everything's good now. We're chill. We're all cordial. We're all chill. That's it. And we all keep it pushing. We respect each other, and we keep it going. Because here's the thing. Luke is coming out, and I don't even know what the hell to use on him. And to be honest, I'm so debuffed by all this. I don't even find it in myself to care at this point to look that up, because all I see on my feed is this, and this. And It's so out of place that my mind just cannot seem to just want to enjoy normal gacha content. It's crazy. It is. And here's the thing. I'm because I prioritize that. I like that type of content better. But this is where we're at now. I hope this has I'm not going to say a perfect resolution. It's not going to happen, but at least a normal resolution. And I'm sorry for all the aggrieved parties. I'm sorry for Saint. I'm sorry for Mr. Pokey. I'm sorry for Cap. I'm sorry for Skull CJ. I'm sorry for everybody that's involved. I'm sorry. I am. None of you guys should have had to deal with all this. And yet here we are. Because here's the thing, just like Saint had actions have consequences, you guys went and did exactly what Saint does. Those actions have consequences too. And you upping them even more and knowing that he will up that even more because that's what he does. And you now guys are now in this weird, he's one-upping, I'm one-upping, he's one-upping, one-upping. Of course, we're going to reach this shitstorm. Obviously, you guys were supposed to be the ones with enough brain power because obviously he's a Broly. He's just like in this berserk state and cannot know when to fully stop. And also thinking about it now, it turns out maybe what we're preaching towards Saintontas is not easy to apply when we're put in the same position as he is. Like we can stand in morals and virtue when we're not put in a similar position. It's easier to do, and I know I'm in a similar position on there too. Like we can suggest, and this is where I always like to add a level of understanding to the aggrieved party, which can seem and be portrayed as people be telling me, oh, you're being biased or this or that. But no, this is me understanding, because if I don't understand it, all I'm doing is like being this morally virtuous prick. No, you have to show a level of understanding and compassion towards the aggrieved party. You have to. Only then can you attempt to try and preach at them to a certain extent. That's what I think. There's some excuse to doing that. Like, at least let me understand it. And when I understand it, me preaching my morals and virtues towards them comes from a genuine place of understanding, and not just me talking down on them and kind of like patronizing them into doing what I think they should be doing and behaving the way I think they should be behaving. I think that's something to keep in mind as you navigate any type of situation like this in the future. Should have known when to take an L and when to communicate to him, yeah, yo, let's just take an L before it's this crazy, because now it's even harder to reach what I think could be reached. But hey, a man can hope. A man can hope. Probably isn't going to happen, but a man can hope. I'm not gonna. I feel like if everybody puts their mind into it, something could always happen, especially privately. Just don't do it publicly, because obviously doing things publicly have shown to not net us the results we want. So this is my 2 cents. I hope you guys are fully aware of my stance right now, and that there's not much confusions right now, because people were saying this was what I always was. No, this is me adapting and going with things as they are occurring, because things evolve and things change. And when things evolve and change, I'm afraid you kind of want to change your stance on it. Because if I see falsely copyright striking malicious behavior, I'm going to be aggro on that 100%. Shouldn't be a thing, but yet here we are. So yeah, I hope everything's clear now. And I hope this gets resolved very soon. Peace.